Hi, this is Little Dwarf playing games while rambling incoherently into a microphone. Why? Well, just because I can, and this time I'll be playing Conarium Blind. Now, this is supposed to be an adventure game that deals with Lovecraftian subjects and, generally speaking, is supposed to be full of references to HP Lovecraft's works. Now, I must admit, I am a big sucker for Lovecraftian themes in fiction, even though at the same time I realize that Lovecraftian has become a bit of a cliche at this point. Like, most of those quote-unquote Lovecraftian works just stick a few references to Cthulhu in there and like some monsters with tentacles and call it a day. So it's a bit derivative, is what I'm trying to say. You seldom see anything particularly disturbing or original, but I kind of like, as much as it is a cliche, or it can be a cliche, I still enjoy that cliche. Like, I am one of those people, I do not see cliches or like overused motives to be bad in themselves. It all depends on the execution. In fact, there are certain recurring themes or motives that I like, regardless of their overabundance. It just depends on the way you actually, utilize them in your story. So I'm perfectly willing to give this a try. Now, even though I am rather familiar with the stories of HP Lovecraft, I am not particularly familiar with adventure games. Like, it's not a genre I've given much thought to in the past, so depending on how hard this actually will be, I might get stuck, or I might have some serious problems with progressing, because I'm not a particularly bright person, I must admit. But regardless, I will, give it all I can. And generally speaking, I'm one of those people who, when playing games, likes to explore everything and look at everything in very close detail. So I'm just going to warn you that this is going to be a very slow approach. I'm presumably going to spend a lot of time just looking at inconsequential stuff, like, for example, what kind of books the characters have in their rooms or something, because I'm one of those people who actually enjoy that. I like to try and deduce things about the world and about the characters based on the environments. But I know literally nothing about the story of this game or how it works, so it's totally blind. And with that being said, let's actually start a new game.
All life is only a set of pictures in the brain, among which there is no difference betwixt those born of real things and those born of inward dreamings.
Well, of course, it had to start with an HP Lovecraft quote, trying to sound profound, what with the blaring line between reality, or what we consider to be reality, and our own dreams. It seems I'm underwater? Because those are medusae, right? Or something. Obviously, underwater locations are also something that's very typical of Lovecraftian fiction, because obviously Cthulhu he sleeps underwater in the sunken city of Relay. And obviously he has a vaguely cephalopodic build. So and the deep ones that are descended from him are also aquatic creatures. Okay. It seems some kind of a tunnel has materialized here.
I believe no more can we harbor ourselves on the safest shores, for there are things that cannot be undone.
Okay. There's some kind of a machine, or like a magical artifact. And some person. Well, let's try and approach them.
Dr. Faust, is that you?
Oh, my head. The pain. It is unbearable. At last. The pain is subsiding. I thought my head was about to explode.
Okay, this looks very similar to the artifact or the machine in the intro. It's just smaller. It's like a model of that machine, maybe?
This device, its noises are resonating in my mind.
Now, Dr. Faust is not actually a Lovecraftian reference. Instead, it's a more general literary reference, because obviously the story of Dr. Faust is like a legend, like a folkloric legend, a folkloric Germanic legend of a man who made a deal with the devil. There are different iterations of that story, but the core theme is always this man of science who also dabbled in the occult and made the deal with the devil. And one of the most famous iterations, one of the most famous retellings of that story is actually by Goethe. We had to read that for our Polish class back in high school. So obviously that seems to suggest that man in the intro, what with his name being Dr. Faust, probably made some kind of a deal with a devil of some sorts. Okay, this is a flashlight. I'll probably need that. So let's take it. Anything on it? Doesn't look like it. I found a torch. Okay. That's an interesting decoration. And this, generally, the vibe it's giving me is like a disco ball. Like, look at this. You could have a rave in here or something. Oh, some ancient manuscripts of ancientness. Depicting some kind of a plant, it seems. But I cannot... Oh, and there's a pentagram as well in the right, in the lower right. I cannot read the words, though, because they seem to be in some incomprehensible language. Some plants, speakers, more plants, some food, a letter. I found the Dr. Wittey's medical records 1. Observation notes on the 4th initiation session. All the participants have consumed the Divershay mixture 5 minutes ago, and they have entered some kind of altered state of consciousness. All of them are now vaguely mumbling in their sleep, like they are chanting something, but the sounds are not conscious. They seem restless. I detect movement in their limbs, as always, and I wonder if it's because of something they are actually seeing beyond. As always, the device is humming and glowing, but this time the atmosphere is different to previous sessions. Whatever the reason for this might be, it feels almost like this fantastic device is signaling something in a code I don't recognize. It's becoming more and more stressful to be alone here, in the midst of this cold, dim and incense-filled room. It sounds to me like the intensity of the subject's mumbling is much stronger now. Colors and shades are dancing on the walls with the rhythmic ins and outs of the device. I can hear the wind howling outside. Maybe a snowstorm is approaching, or something even worse. Exactly 5 minutes and 3 seconds have passed now. They have drifted beyond my area of expertise and guidance. I cannot do anything further except to wish for their safe return. Okay, so they've been conducting some tests with some kind of a mixture, and I presume it was maybe made from this plant or something, and it induced some kind of a trance. Divershay of Nightside and beyond. 3 times. Kawali. I don't know what that's referring to. Saheti plant. Seeds of Saheti. Okay, so this is the same plant as here, right? But I guess it's not called the Verche. The Verche is maybe the name of the completed mixture already. The plant seems to be called Saheti. Okay, some books. Oh, I brought up some kind of a device on my arm. It's almost like a watch or some kind of a device for measuring something, but I don't know what it does for now. Upuataut Antarctic expedition. Okay, I cannot read any of those titles. And can I crouch? I can, but I cannot open this regardless. Upuaut Expedition Handbook. Okay, so it seems I'm in an Antarctic expedition. The notes mentioned a snowstorm outside. Nothing much can be seen through the windows, it seems. Antediluvian shamanism. Okay, so a book on the occultic practices. Now, antediluvian means from before the flood, like the biblical flood. But some of you might be familiar from that term, with that term from the Vampire the Masquerade lore, because antediluvian in there signifies those really old vampires, like the forefathers of the vampiric clans, and they are named so specifically because they are so old that they predate the biblical flood, but the name itself is actually just a combination of the words ante and diluvian, so before the flood. It has nothing to do specifically with Vampire the Masquerade. Okay, what's that? Upuat Antarctic Expedition. Antarctic Expedition, so I saw that already. I cannot read any of those. Some papers on the floor. Rick. I'm always clicking C for crouching, but instead it's control in this game. It doesn't look like I can read any of the papers. Okay, I think this is another handbook. This is a compass, but I'm not quite sure what's the... Like, I know what's the purpose of a compass, but what I mean is it doesn't look like I can actually take it. So, what's the purpose of it in-game? Well, I don't know. Okay. Anything on this shelf? No. Well, so I guess I'm ready to leave this room. Frick. It'll be some time before I get used to that. I guess I could change that. But let's just roll with this. Now, where are all the light switches? Like, for example, actually, now that I think about it, it seems that there are no overhead lights overall in this room, which is very weird. Although, wait, might not be as weird for this room in particular, because now that I realized that those recliners are, you know, specifically, it's not a bedroom, it's not a living room of anyone. This is specifically intended for that trance therapy or something. So, you know, presumably they don't want to have too strong of a light, because that would interfere with the process. And I guess there are some wall lamps in here, but again, seemingly no light switch, so It's not like I can actually enable them. Radio room?
Anybody here? Where is everybody? Locked. Looks like we're having a power problem right now.
Okay, I think this is a light, right? It just doesn't work because there's no power. Journal has been updated. No electricity. I found that the Upaud Antarctic expedition base has been enveloped in darkness and some of the appliances are not functioning due to a power outage. But why has no one attended this problem so far? Where is everybody? Weather notice. Nikolai Hansen. Expected snowstorm. A strong snowstorm is expected to hit for the next 2 weeks. It is of utmost importance to take all the cautionary measures and inform all the responsible personnel when going outside. Please be aware that the radio connection between the base and the ship might not be available during this period. Okay, anything on the back? No. On the back, Upuat Expedition Wheeler, Pickford. Now Pickod, I have no idea how you actually read that, but Pequod, but that's a name. That's a character name from Moby Dick, I believe. So that's a you know, right name for a ship, but it seems to be, you know, an old-timey ship, like an actual, with an actual math. What I'm trying to say, it's not a construction of a ship that's contemporary. At least I'm pretty sure it isn't. So what's, like, is this expedition named for some previous expedition or something? Well, I guess I will learn that eventually. Oh, okay, this is interesting, because this is some kind of an ornament or something. But if you look at this, it's the exact same symbol as it is in here, which is weird because obviously you'd think this base was probably established before they actually found anything, unless it's again from like an older expedition, and they sort of incorporated it in the design of the later one. Again, I'm probably going to learn that as the game progresses. Where am I even? What? Ah, okay, I went back into here. And this is some kind of a weird statue, presumably from some occult, dark, paganistic temple of the dark gods, or whatever. After all, this is supposed to be a Lovecraftian game. And what would a Lovecraftian game be without dark cults? Familiar visits. What? Familiar visits the lower chambers once more in the form of a black cat. Its spectral image echoes throughout the 7 rooms. What sin called it from his hollow, looming dim and ghost-like? What? That seems very... what's the word? That seems like a very weird message to hang on the notice board of a scientific expedition, but whatever. Because it seems to directly deal with some kind of an occult matter. Of a familiar would be like a wizard's magical pet or something, and specifically a black cat is something that has been folklorically linked with witches. You know, every witch worth her salt should probably have a black cat. Okay, so there's a first aid kit, but it doesn't look like I can cold and flu medicine. Doesn't look like I can actually take any of it. What about this? Fire extinguisher. Fragile, keep dry. those are fuse boxes, but I cannot do anything with them. Seems. Auxiliary power needs to be enabled manually from outside. What? That seems like a deranged idea. Like, I'm not an electrician myself, but it seems to me like that makes absolutely no sense whatsoever, especially in Antarctic conditions. Like, why would you do it like this? Why would, in case of a power outage, you have to go out into freezing cold, and depending on the time of year, I guess also eternal darkness, and you have to look for like a switch to enable the emergency power. Like, that seems like a bad design, if you ask me. But then again, as I said, I am no electrician myself. Weather notice, a snowstorm. Okay, so I read that. Health notice, supervisor Johan de Witte. Oh, so that's the one that I read his notes. Attention crew members were having problems sleeping. Examinations conducted regarding the increase of accidents recently led me to believe that the reason behind them is some kind of intense cabin fever. Symptoms for this problem are insomnia, severe headaches, seeing visions or hearing voices. Crew members who are suffering from the above symptoms are required to refer to me personally for a thorough checkup. This will also be the main topic of the general meeting that will be held tomorrow after lunch. The issue poses serious problems regarding safety at work, so it must be taken heed of soberly. Medical practitioner. Signed. Okay, so they are having mental issues, which again, people slowly going insane. It's a staple of Lovecraftian fiction. Stop those bloody sessions. Presumably they mean the sessions with the trance and the artifact. Okay, so somebody was going in or out recently, because that's like water, right? From those are like what's the word? Dirt and debris from the outside, which is presumably covered in snow. I'm not going to leave myself yet though, because I want to see the other side right here. Okay, this is some kind of a storage. Pequod Antarctic expedition, 1948. Supported by Derby Pickman, and something foundation. Now, Pickman is is in fact a clear reference to Lovecraft, because Pickman's model was one of Lovecraft's short stories, and in that short story in particular, there was this painter who was painting very weird and disturbing creatures, and everyone was thinking that he's going mad or something, or that he has a very vivid imagination. But basically the twist of this short story was that in the end it was revealed that he actually painted all of those creatures from nature, as it were. He actually met them, he saw them, those monsters, and he painted them afterwards. Elevator, infirmary, storage room.
It's locked.
No.
It's stuck.
Okay, so not much exploring to be done here, it seems. It seems I indeed have to go out. If I want to accomplish anything, I need to enable the power. Okay. It seems I leave tracks in the snow, which is very cool.
It's not safe to go further away from the expedition base in this weather.
He's probably right. I was just testing the boundaries to see if there's anything else to be found.
My mind is cloudy. All I can remember is the successful establishment of the Upward Antarctic base. And after that, nothing is clear in my mind.
Okay, this seems to go back into one of the other compartments of the base, but before I do that, I want to check this area. What's the purpose of this? At first I thought it was like a helicopter pad or something, but obviously it's far too small, that's one thing, and the other is I don't think it would actually have this kind of railing on it, because that would only increase like the possibility of an accident or something. So I'm not quite sure. It looks like a patio, but why would you even have that on like an Antarctic base? I seriously doubt they are ever like just sitting outside. Obviously it's freezing even when the weather is good.
It's easy to get lost in this weather. I'd better stay close to the expedition base.
Okay, so it seems I have not that much of a choice. I simply must go back in here. Well, let's do it then. Okay, more random cargo. Is this the auxiliary power? It might be. But it seems I'm doing something wrong and something more needs to be done to enable it. Shock hazard. Duct tape.
Tank is empty.
Okay, so I taped some kind of a hose in here, and I guess I also need fuel. That's interesting and possibly relevant that this first aid kit is empty, so somebody has used all this. Oh, that's the fuel, right? Somebody has used the medicaments here. There's also a key, which I am going to take. HP Lovecraft. Oh, frick. I didn't... How do I take it back? I didn't take a look at it. Can I view them in the... No? Damn it. I'm annoyed now. Because I didn't take a look at the title. Nor did I... Well, it was obviously a book by Lovecraft, which is interesting to know that his stories exist in this universe, whereas the universe itself presumably is going to reference them, which is kind of weird, actually. But I guess you can make the assumption that in the continuity of this game, Lovecraft actually wrote things that are true, like partially at least. Maybe he himself had like some kind of vision that made him write all of those things. What was the key for, though? Well, first of all, actually... Where does this go? I guess I will quick save. And I will see... scientifically, the pineal gland, also known as the pineal body, Conarium... Oh, okay, that's interesting. So that's a part of a brain. I wasn't aware of what that the name of the game actually means. Is a small endocrine gland in the vertebrate brain, named after its shape, which resembles that of a pine cone. No, pine cone. Okay, so let's take another look at the book. HP Lovecraft at the Mountains of Madness. Now, this is thematically appropriate for this game specifically, because at the Mountain of Madness actually takes place, it takes place in Antarctica, and it tells of an expedition that found remnants of like an alien city, of some bygone civilization of weird creatures, which actually, again, at this point it makes me wonder whether in this universe, because if it exists, whether this expedition, for example, was established because they read that and they assumed there might be something true about it, and maybe there actually is something true about it in this universe. I guess that remains to be seen. Yeah, a novella named At the Mountain of Madness, written by HP Lovecraft. And apparently it's some kind of a trophy item. I'm still not entirely sure what the key was for, but presumably I will need it. Let's try to see if the auxiliary power works now. Okay, I presume it does. Did anything else change? Can I do anything? Now, I noticed two things when I was repeating that small segment. First of all, there's another entry in my journal. I'd better find a crew member. I woke up from a series of blurry nightmares, isolated inside these somewhat foreign walls. In one of my pockets, I found an empty notebook in which I am writing my notes. I can't remember anything other than there should have been others here with me. The names Dr. Faust and Dr. De Witte are lingering in my mind now. Additionally, trying to delve deeper into the thoughts gives me sharp pain in my already throbbing head. I'd better find a crew member and find out what's going on here as soon as possible. And I've also noticed that if I click space, I can open my inventory, and this strange device was already on my left arm when I came around inside the meeting room of the Pequod Antarctic base. It comes as no surprise that I don't remember anything about it. This torch I found in the meeting room. Oh, and I can view trophy items in here. Okay. Let's save and go back then. Having re-established the power. The abundance of five-pointed shapes seen in the designs of structures we've came across cannot be overlooked. In addition, most of the elegant figures adorning and staring silently from above, most of the... What? Well, I didn't have the time to read that, because I was kind of confused in the middle of that sentence, but it seems weird to me. It's almost like the game is spoiling itself via the use of the loading screen quotes. I would much rather prefer it to, just maybe repeat the notes I've already found, rather than give me information that I don't think I should have yet. Okay, I saw someone.
What was that?
Well, seemingly it was a person. Anything new here? Doesn't look like it.
This device, its noises are resonating in my mind.
Before I go to the radio room, because that's presumably where I needed to go, I want to check the others. Maybe some of the doors have opened. Elevator, infirmary, and storage rooms. How about this door, which seems to go into a locker room? James Barlow.
Locked.
C. Lenning.
It's locked.
H. Anderson. Oh, so am I H. Anderson?
If his coat is just right here, where is he now?
Oh, okay, I guess I'm not.
If his coat is just right here, where is he now?
Nikolai Gogol, the portrait. Okay. Len Brown.
Locked.
Ned Well. Okay, I can take his personal radio, which I will. Yeah, found a walkie-talkie.
Locked.
Johann de Witte, that's the doctor. What? Okay, that's some kind of an idol? It's a bit weird to have like 40 of them.
If his coat is just right here, where is he now? It's locked. Locked.
L. Ferguson and David Berka. Okay, but it seems from the way the protagonist has been talking about it that none of those are mine. So I don't know even what my name is. Actually, let me crew rooms. To be honest, whichever way I go, there's quite a bit of exploring, it seems. So it doesn't really matter. Wait, did that close behind me on its own? I wonder if that's a game mechanic simply, or if there's some actual significance to that. MC Blake. Okay, a lot of books with no titles on the back. A phone? Is it a phone? No. Some kind of a power outlet or something. Or like a... 3.8 light equation, photoreceptors, servo motors. Okay, I have no idea. Is this like a mechanical eye or something? Generated voice is outputted to the speakers. Incoming power needs to be regulated. Main feed input, backside. Auditory and visual data are fed to the main system by the primary filters. Is it really possible to feed the machine with an actual brain? Ancient sources speak too secretively about this. Based on the ratings of R. Bacon and Wolfgang von Kempelen, I will try to improve the machine. So is this some kind of an ancient android? It seems to suggest that it's a machine that you put a human mind into. Okay, so that's a map of Antarctica. Frick! I found a note about the location of the base, but I wanted to read that actually. Older city ruins, Cyclopean city, Mountains of Madness. Oh, so this is indeed very interesting, because this confirms what I was talking about earlier, how the stories of HP Lovecraft are actually real inside this universe, and I guess the expedition that he described in his story, The Mountains of Madness, was indeed real, and the city that they found was real as well. So that's definitely interesting. Let's check this. So that's the 5th of February 1949. After our haphazard and momentary aerial exploration of the unholy, utterly alien Cyclopean maze of square, curved and angled blocks, we could detect most of the locations revealed by the previous Miskatonic University leader, the Professor Emeritus William Dyer. But we are looking for what we are looking for is not there, inside the haunted Shaggoth ruins. According to the various sources, it should be in the much older ruins beyond the Elder City, right on the edge of the mountain beyond the Mountains of Madness. It was built over a location deeply shunned even by the Elder Things, and built long before the colossal city Dr. Dyer and his team explored. Now that we have set foot upon the lands no one has ever seen before, a vast mass of dry land around the South Pole, which rose from the primal waters when the old ones seeped down from the stars. A place so evil, most of the arcane sources hesitated to even record it at all, whilst some murals within the Elder City depicted it with obvious repugnance and trepidation. Okay. That's a pipe, I think. An object that looks like a handle. Oh, no. Okay, I have no idea what I'm actually doing, so I will leave that be for now.
It's stuck.
Okay, it's interesting. Some kind of a container but it's ornamented. What's that? Hidden plants of the great antiquity. Okay. Anything in here? Doesn't look like it. Found Dr. Barrow's notes. World's history and myth. Damn it, I wanted to actually read that. Today, we located the plant, Saheti, with demonic precision under Dr. Faust's guidance. My god, how could a face be so deformed at the moment of victory? His pitch-black eyes were shimmering in the blinding darkness of this pre-human catacomb. Just try to imagine that. In that forbidding and suffocating oldness, he screamed aloud phrases I believe to have originated from the notorious Necronomicon, written by the mad Arab in the 700s AD. It was really too much for our nerves. After all of the events, we're like a stage play, successfully directed and performed by one person alone. No one spoke aloud, but it was apparent from the countenance they wore. Everybody was agreed upon the abnormal nature of the knowledge we were shown in that moment. And about the Saheti, it is too early to write anything. I will spend the coming days working on it. Then I will note down my conclusions. Okay, but I wanted to read the notes in this. How do I... Okay, scientifically, the pineal gland, also known as the pineal body, Conarium or Epiphyse cerebri, is a small endocrine gland in the vertebral brain, named after its shape, which resembles a pine cone. It's located in the epithalamus, near the center of the brain, between the two hemispheres. The pineal gland produces melatonin, a serotonin-derived hormone, which modulates sleep patterns in both circadian and seasonal cycles, but mystic traditions and philosophy ascribe it a different role. René Descartes regarded it as the principal seat of the soul and the place in which all our thoughts are formed, and the writings of in the writings of Madame Blavatsky, it was explained with the Hindu concept of the third eye, or the Ajna chakra, as part of the human body. Not fully understood today, it holds its deep-rooted place as one of the most important lines between our material and the continually degrading mystic nature. Okay, so I guess the game is named after a part of a brain. And the fact that it's linked to the production of melatonin and sleep cycles is probably relevant, because the people are having problems with sleeping in this space. But regardless, I feel like this episode is more than long enough, so I'm going to end it here for now. That's all for this one, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.